We are now just listening to Dan Campbell's press conference, and we've been talking playoffs, right? Y'all know how I do. You know, I talk playoffs. That's what I do. Because for me, I just don't want to go into the draft as early as we've been talking about it. That's what we always do. We always talk about the draft. And I think Dan Campbell showed a moment of transparency today. He was asked about the playoffs, and he said, of course, he thought about it as a player. The players think about it, but that's not their focus, because one thing that he said that stood out to me was if you don't win, none of it matters. And we've been saying that. Obviously, we know that. We're in a situation where we can't just necessarily control our own fate. Now, in order to do that, we've got to win 6 straight. And I don't think anybody think that's going to happen. Do we think the Lions can do that? The Lions can literally hang and have hung with almost every team. Couple of blowouts. In my opinion, just the one blowout against the Patriots. The Dallas game was a 3-point game at the half, and then Jamal Williams' fumble blew it open. Very similar to what happened against the Buffalo Bills. However, this was the first time that Dan Campbell has said the word playoffs, and that I can remember. If anybody else has said it, if he said it any other time, please let me know. But this is the first time that I've heard him say it. Now, we talked about this. We've talked about this. The Jacksonville Jaguars are a team trying to find their identity. They're a lot like us. A lot like us. Very scrappy team. We cannot overlook them. We're only favorite by like a point to win. And in some cases, I've seen us underdogs against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is funny to me because we're pretty much the same team. They're coming to our house, so we should have somewhat of an advantage, but that's not the case. So I think that Dan Campbell saying that not only is he thinking about it, it's not at the forefront of his mind. He said it's at the back of everyone's mind. Because what I love, and this is why that we talk about, I'm so strong on anti-tanking. Because our coach today just told you why they play the game. He said, this is why we play, isn't it? We play to get here. We're not playing for fun. We're not playing to see how everybody's measuring up. This is for an ultimate goal. 32 teams every year compete for one Super Bowl championship. 14 out of those 32 get an opportunity to do that in the postseason. Why else are we playing? And I think that was great for fans to hear. That was great for me to hear. I'm glad he said it. I'm glad he actually said it. Like, no, we don't just, we're not thinking about that. We on to Jacksonville and on to the Minnesota Vikings after that. We're not. Yes, you are. Everybody's thinking about it. But it's not his job to focus on that. His job is to get the Detroit Lions ready for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then after them, the Minnesota Vikings. And then after them, the New York Jets. That's what his goal is. We need a lot of help coming up this weekend. We need a lot of help for the rest of the season. But first things first, we have to win our games. We have to win our games. So the fact that our coach is talking about playoffs, we should be too. We should be too. Now, you can decide whatever way you want to go. If you want to go draft, that's what you want to do. That's not okay with me. Because we have from January the 9th until April the 28th to talk draft. Peter King, Mel Kiper. Who is Mel Kiper anyway? Todd McShay. We've got 10 weeks to do that over and over and over. And then after that, there's nothing. Everything's over. Free agency, over. Maybe a move here. Maybe. Do y'all remember the abysmal July? Everybody's on vacation. There's nothing to talk about. They're gearing up for the season. So for me, I want to go to the playoffs. And I think everyone should want to too. Any Lions fan should want us to go to the playoffs because this team has a responsibility to draft a Taylor Decker, to draft a Frank Ragnow. Don't forget, we drafted middle of the first round when we took both of those guys. And they've been anchors to our team. So where we draft shouldn't necessarily matter. It's how we draft. So why are we thinking about the draft right now when our team is the 10th seed and in prime position to make a run at this thing? So tell me what you think below. What do you think of Dan Campbell for the first time that I can remember uttering playoffs?